But I'm gonna tell you, man, one of the most disheartening things that I heard over this time frame when brothers were reaching out to me, man, when brothers were saying, man, you know what? When I met her, I didn't even know her. And she just pretty much let me smash, man. And matter of fact, I only smashed because my partner told me that he smashed. So I went over there and smashed. It was that dark, bro. And out of all the shit that happened, the darkest thing to me, man, was like, oh shit, like I was fucking with a demon in real time. At ease, brothers. Man, today I want to talk about unmasking your devils. And I don't want to just talk about unmasking your devils simply for the fact that just talking about it, man. I want to talk about this specifically, man, because I'm understanding now that a lot of us men don't understand that a lot of the things we used to read about in the Bible are happening in real time. Like when we talk about people casting spells, when we talk about certain vibration of women, like it seems it's really hard to understand that it's happening around us because we want to cast this, you know, this Jerusalem-esque type vibe around those stories. And brother, those things are happening right now. And the reason I want to talk about it, man, is because there are a lot of brothers in situations right now that really can't put a finger on why certain things are happening. There are a lot of brothers, man, that are in certain sections in life or certain stages in life that they're looking around, man. They're really not understanding how they got there or how to get out. There are a lot of brothers, man, that are in a completely different vibe, man, where they can look back several years ago and say, you know what, man, my life for some reason changed 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and I've been stuck here. And they have no idea why. You know, if y'all watch that video, I made a video some years ago, man. It's probably on my old channel. It was a video I made in front of the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, man. And I was still working for my job then. And I remember working all day. And I remember I got off late, man. It was probably 11:30. And I said, man, I promised myself I was going to make a video today. So I took my camera out in front of the Alamo, man. It's probably 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody out there, pitch black. And I'm making a video out in front of the Alamo. And as I'm looking at my camera, the screen on my camera, I see this guy walking up behind me. And I'm like, oh, snap, it's 2 a.m. So I look back, homeless guy comes up, man. I just bring him on the camera. Let's chop, bro. And we just chopping. And he's telling his story about how he got to where he is now, how he's sleeping on park benches. And at the end of this story, he refers to this woman that was in his life at one point in time. And kind of goes through that scenario, man, and talks about how he loved her and life just kind of went to shit, right? And that brother, man, I'll try to leave a link to that video if I still have it, man. It's an old video. I'll try to leave a link to it. That brother was exhibit A of what I want to talk about today. Exhibit A, man. So if you don't understand how to unmask your devils, bro, I'm telling you, man, you're living life on a tightrope. Meaning at any point in time, life can be snatched from you, bro. So I was dating this chick, right? I was dating this chick one time, man. And when this woman and I first met, you know, boom, we instant chemistry, instant vibe, instant fun times, instant, you know, everything, man. We did some serious hanging out. And once we kind of start getting a little bit more serious and spending more time and getting to know things about each other, I noticed something very weird about her, man. Like I noticed a small pattern, right? And that pattern that I noticed was every single person she spoke about, it was in the darkest of energies, man. Like she would tell me stuff about, you know, her at work and just kind of tell me about scenarios in life, about things she did. And in every single scenario, it was painting a horrible picture about people, man. And the first thing I thought was this. I'll be honest. The first thing I thought was, I said, this chick is racist. It's not a black chick. She's not black, right? She wasn't black. And I said, man, this chick is racist, man. And she would say some stuff, bro. She would say some stuff like, for example, she worked with a lot of Hispanic people, right? And she would say stuff about that, man. And I would just be like, did she really say that? Anyway, long story short, man, that and some few other things just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I told her one day, we were FaceTime. I said, you know what, man, like, I kind of just want to do my own thing. Like, you know, like I kind of just want to be single and roll solo type shit. And she was like, that's cool, crying and shit. She said, well, just tell me why. She said, tell me why. And there were some other issues I had. I can't remember what I told her, but the main thing was this. I said, you know what? I said, I'll tell you this. I said, and I've been thinking about this since we first started talking. I said, I thought you were racist. I said, when you talk about people, I said, I can tell what race they are. I can tell what faction you put them in. I can tell what stereotype you look at them through without you even saying it. Like, it's so evident that you look at people a different way. I said, but it's not racist. I said, I thought you were racist, but it is not racism. I said, you know what? You have a superiority complex. Like you have a God complex. Like, you literally think you're better than every single person on the planet. And it comes out of your pores. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, what? I didn't know I looked. I'm like, yeah, this shit is disturbing. Anyway, we stopped talking, man, you know, went our separate ways for, I don't know, it might have been, you know, some time. Hell, I can't remember, maybe some months, maybe, I don't know. But when we got back together, man, we got back together and started hanging out again. And, you know, we talked about that, and she was like, yeah, you know, I'm trying to fix this shit or whatever, right? Anyway, we kind of kept on vibing together, hanging out, dating or whatever. And I noticed the same pattern, bro. I noticed, like, for example, there was this close friend of hers, man, a close friend she worked with. And she would always talk about this friend, you know, and just kind of certain elements of them working together, whatever. But then she would always talk about this young lady's personal life. And she would be telling me, yeah, this, you know, so-and-so, I'm not going to say her name because I'm sure she might watch my content still. I don't know. She said, yeah, so-and-so, you know, yeah, she's pretty much just a fucking hoe. Like, yeah, she got this guy living with her. She's got this guy paying her bills. She's going to Florida, fucking her ex-husband. She's doing this right here. And I'm like, dang, like, is there anything good about the chick? And at one point in time, I asked her, I said, well, why do you hang with her? If she's this bad, why do you hang with this chick? And she was like, oh, we work together and da-da-da. Anyway, you know, so I had that scenario. Then we started talking about her family, right? And I ended up meeting her family, beautiful people. But we would talk about her family, man. Me and her sister would follow each other on social media. And I was like, man, your sister is like amazing. She does this, she does this. Oh, well, no, my sister, that's not really her. My sister, she lives a fake life. My sister's a hoe. My sister, she left her husband and was cheating on this man and did all this stuff, man, and went back to her husband shit. I'm like, like, where's this coming from? Like, why is this? Talked about her parents the same way. Her parents. Yeah, my parents are this, man, and drugs and alcohol and divorce and cheating and da-da-da-da. I'm like, what the? It was weird to me, bro. It was weird to me. But looking back, man, it was a God complex. It was a God complex looking back on it now, because in time, man, I end up meeting these people. I can remember one day I was taking lunch to her at work, man, and her and I was sitting there having some lunch at her office, man, and this friend that she always talked about that I never met walks up and joins us and sits down. And after about 15, 20 minutes, man, we're talking about love and relationships and goals. I'm like, surely this isn't the chick that she's been talking about. I said, this chick is beautiful, beautiful spirit. Kind spirit, beautiful woman, talking about how she wanted to have a healthy relationship and XYZ. And I thought that was just the weirdest thing, man. And then when I met her parents, met her family, met her whole family. And I was thinking at first, I was like, I don't even want to meet her parents, bro. Because I'm like, man, they seem like the most toxic people on the planet. The most beautiful people I've ever met. Most beautiful people I've ever met. Met her sister in person. Most beautiful spirit person I've ever met. Her mother, me and her mother were like BFFs. Her mom would send me candy, and her pops, man, was a man's man. And when I met him, man, the brother even had like a little ceremony, man. He was like, man, we want to welcome this brother to the family type shit. And in my mind, I'm like, why do I have this distorted picture in my mind of every single person? And that's crazy, man. And it seems like I'm exaggerating. There wasn't one single, well, I'll say it like this. There was only one person that her and I ever talked about or experienced together that didn't get this light, that didn't get this darkness put over their life, man. And it was her brother. It was her brother, man. And her brother, man, is one of the coolest cats I've ever met. To be honest, man, even looking back on when I used to date this sister, man, one of the parts that I hate about not dating her anymore is her brother. Cause I could have seen, man, this brother vibing out for years, man. Like this cat was A1. She never said nothing about her brother, man. And that was the only person she never spoke ill will about, right? So I noticed early, man, I said, man, she has a God complex where she sees everybody in a different state. Everybody is less than, or everybody must have darkness shed on them. And at the time, I wasn't doing the math, man. I wasn't noticing that as a major red flag. But brother, that's a major red flag. Any woman you see in your life that casts that illusion over everybody's life, that are casting that spell over everybody they know, that has you thinking that everybody is salty, man, I'm gonna tell you, man, that's a red flag and a half, right? Anyway, fast forward. I started noticing this God complex evolving into something else. And when I say evolving into something else, it began to get bigger. Like that ego began to swell. And looking back, I'm fully aware of what it is, man. And I spoke about this before. And I say this, man. And I said this in a video a while back. I said, if you have a woman in your life, man, I'll say it like this. If you have a woman in your life, I don't care what quote unquote numbers of the scale this woman fits in. If this woman is your woman, she should feel like a 10, bro. If your woman doesn't feel like the most beautiful woman in the room, you're doing something wrong, man. I ain't gonna lie. And a lot of men will look at that and be like, nah, man, never gas a chick up. And to be honest, I now understand why some chicks you can't gas up. Because if a woman has a God complex and you walking in your actual God energy and you're pouring that essence into her, bro, you're creating a monster. You are creating a demon in the flesh. Because you got to understand this. If you're in that God complex, what a person really is saying is, I'm the furthest thing from God. To be honest, when people walk in that God complex, a lot of these people will be hella religious. They'll be hella Christ and all this stuff. Brother, real life, they're atheist. They're really atheists. Because the way they move is the complete opposite of the way we should be living. And we've been talking about this lately. The two greatest commandments: love God with all your heart, love your brother and sister as you love yourself. You can't move in that God complex type energy and be on the other end at the same time. And I'm calling it God complex, but now I'm understanding that now it's what a lot of people call narcissism. It's what a lot of people, it falls up under a lot of different names. And I'm gonna tell you this, man, I've never in my life referred to somebody as a narcissist, like as far as somebody I've dated. And I've dated some crazy women. I can tell you some stories, man, of some wild scenarios, bro, where it's like, man, that really happened. And I can look back now and laugh on it, man. And another thing, you gotta understand this. When I talk about devil energy, I'm not even talking about a particular person. Like when a lot of people talk about devil energy, devil energy is not a person. There is no devil. That's what I'm really saying. I got it backwards. There is no devil. There's only devil energy. So you can have a person that's walking upright, but something can happen, something can trigger them, and that devil energy attaches to them. Now they're moving in that state. So you got to understand that what I'm talking about, man, is an energy, right? So long story short, man, some things happen, and I'll say this. Like, it got to the point where I saw this woman moving in a certain light, and I had to start backing up from boosting her ego, telling her like, hey, XYZ, and you know what? Like, you really can't accomplish anything you want to accomplish. Like, you can be great. You are great. You're beautiful. You fine. Yeah, you might have some insecurities about yourself, but you fine. You know what I'm saying? You should tell your woman that. I started backing up from that, man, and really started challenging her. Really started getting down to the root cause of who she was. Really getting down to the root cause of what software she was operating from. And I came out of that I won't say came out of that loving energy, but I got back in that emperor state, man, and started challenging her like I challenge a man that's in my life. Like who goes there? What do you want to do? What are you here for type shit, right? And I'm asking her about herself. I'm asking about like her thought processes. Why do you do this? Why do you not do this? Why do you say this certain thing? What does that mean? What does that mean when you say that? I mean, I'm challenging her left and right, challenging her about every single thing, man. And the thing is, it woke that demon. It scared that demon. Because I'm gonna tell you this, man. When you're dealing with somebody with a God complex, if you really want to, if you're really walking with God, when you really let that light shine on them, brother, it's gonna scare the hell out of them, bro. It's gonna scare the hell out of them, man. So I brought that entity up front, man, and was like, who goes there type shit. Like, who are you? And it scared the hell out of her, bro. Scared the hell out of her. She ran for the hills. Looking back, I understand now, man, she was running back toward the past, running back toward lower vibrational cats that didn't move like that, right? But anyway, this is what I'm getting to, man. You can identify your enemy, man. The Bible says, and I don't know where it is, where it says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. You can recognize the demons in your life. You can recognize the devils in your life, man, if they simply come to kill, steal, and destroy. Right? And when I thought about that, man, and looking back on all the people she had talked about in her life, I'm like, man, why is she trying to destroy everybody's character? Like, why is that? Anyway, fast forward, man. Me and this chick, we had a falling out, man. Things came to surface if you want to see that, I'll leave a link to the video. A lot of y'all have already seen the video, right? Things came to surface, man, and we parted ways, right? It's like, you know what? We part ways, bro. And what was weird was, I'll say this. I might come back to this, bro. I might come back to that part. What was weird was, so I'm going my separate way. I'm like, you know what, man? Sometimes people get together and they have relationships and they just don't work, right? Like, it just happens. Like I've been on the good end of it before. I've been on the bad end. It just happens, man. So I'm going my own merry way. Right? And I don't know if it was weeks later. I don't know how long it was had passed, man. I get an email, right? On my business email, Solar Mortal, right? And it's an email, and I want to say that the caption was something like I want to talk to you, or we need to talk, or something like that. And it was a female name, right? I'm like, I don't know who this is, whatever. Anyway, I respond back, hey, give me a call whenever you're free. And I get a call from a woman that I think I've heard her name before, but I'm not sure, right? Anyway, she's telling me some stuff, right? She was like, I'm reaching out to you because a lot of stuff just doesn't make sense to me. She said, of course, you know what? I know your ex, and I'm very close to your ex, and your ex is saying these things about you, and it's not making sense. She said, you know what? Y'all's whole relationship, y'all did X, Y, Z. Y'all got together. You were the sweetest person on the planet. You did all these things for her. Da-da-da-da-da. I said, and she said it was like overnight, you became like the worst person on the planet. She said it was being said that you were on drugs, that you were, you name it, that I was cheating, that I had, I was drinking. Y'all know I don't even drink, that I was alcoholic, that I was even to the point where, and I don't even want to say this online, to where I wanted to delete my ex. She told me this. And I'm like, what? And she's like, it don't make sense because I'm listening to the version of you before and I see your content. And she said, I see your content and the monster she's created in her mind or that she's spilling out about you is just not matching up. But you got to understand this, man. I took that and I just said, you know what? Like, that's jacked up, but okay. Like, it is what it is, right? Because you got to understand this. You got to understand this, man. Well, I'll get to that in a second, maybe. So I want to say a few days passes, not a week. I know it wasn't a week, man. And I started getting called, and this is the weirdest thing to me, bro. I started getting calls from men. And out of all the relationships I've had in my life, I've never in my life have I exited a relationship and received calls from men pertaining to a person that I used to talk to. Never in my life. But I had three men reach out to me. So it was just 3 men and this one sister reached out to me total, right? And that was saying, and this is what I noticed, man. All of them pretty much had the same story. It was coming from different angles, different points of view. They had different experiences, but it was all pretty much the same story. And in a nutshell, there were a lot of, they were saying different things, but one guy was like, hey man, like this is just how she moves. Like this is what she did to me. Like we were this right here and all of a sudden, boom, she was gone. And I looked up later, I looked up and 5 minutes later, she's in another relationship. And it's like, man, other guy saying something similar. Everybody saying something similar. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, this is the weirdest thing, man. And that's when I started to really examine what was taking place, bro. I really sit back and I was like, man, something weird is taking place. And I can remember watching this video. I was watching this YouTube video. I can't think of his name. And it was this guy talking about a relationship he was in. And he had a series of like 5 videos. And I'm watching these videos. And by the time I got to the 3rd video, I'm almost pissed. Because I'm 100% convinced that this guy is talking about the woman I was dating. I'm like, she was talking to this cat too? And that's when I understood something, bro. You got to understand something. The devil operates on a certain script. If you ever hear people talk about narcissism, you can have 100 people talking about narcissism. The far majority of those conversations go by a certain script. This happened. Like words like love bombing and all that stuff. I never really understood what that stuff meant. Love bombing and gaslighting. I never knew those words until y'all brothers kind of put me on recently. And XYZ and XYZ and XYZ. It's a script the devil goes by. And I sit back and I looked at that, man, and I understood that my situation was far more different than I thought it was. It was far more different. I said, man, I really didn't understand how big of a bullet I had dodged. You gotta understand this, bro. This is what I understood. Well, this is what you need to know, man. The devil is like when the Bible talks about this Proverbs 5 woman and she moves a certain way and XY, this woman is after your soul. This woman is after your soul. And the thing is, you gotta understand when people move in this devil energy, their life is simply a web. Their life is simply a web of having different people in different places. And then I understood when these men were calling me, I said, these brothers are in a web. Because there's no way in the world I'm going to reach out to a man about another one in no circumstance. I said, for me to do that, I would have to be under some kind of illusion. And you got to understand this, bro. I want to say this shit real quick, man. You got to understand this. Like when the Bible talks about, and I don't know what verses it is, it's Proverbs 5 and 8, somewhere in there, right? When it says that this Proverbs 5 woman, it says something like her lips are smooth as oil and yada, yada, yada. And she, pretty much, you got to understand the illusion that the devil casts on men or on people is the illusion of words, bro. And I'm gonna tell you when I realized it. I'm gonna tell you exactly the moment I realized it. My ex was sitting there texting me on some shit, man, because I ended up having to tell her to stop fucking calling me, man. Like when I told her, hey, it's over, like it's done with. Boom, clicked it up. For I don't know how many days, man, I was getting these texts about, well, I'm your wife and I need to go to counseling. I need to get help, and sending me all these Bible verses for days. And I'm like, why she said? I told her ass to leave me leave me alone type shit, man. And it's crazy, man. When I understood the power of that verse where it says her words are smooth as oil, yada, yada, yada. I'm sitting there looking at text from her saying, I'm your wife. I'm this, that, yada, yada. I'm need to, we. And I'm also looking at screenshots that brothers sent me of her in naked pictures, her sending, saying shit about me. And I'm looking at both, and I understood right then. I said, man, I'm looking at her words, and I can feel the convincing power coming from her words, even though I'm looking at screenshots of her talking shit about me. That's when I said, oh shit, I understand the power of the devil now. The power of the devil, man. So a lot of you, all I'm saying, brothers, is we have to be aware of what's really going on, man. We have to be aware of when we're in an illusion. We have to be aware that if words and actions aren't matching up, brother, something is up with that. Something is up with that, man. But you got to understand the ultimate goal, man. The ultimate goal, because you got to understand this. When a person is living in that demon energy, you have to understand that they're literally dead. They're literally dead. So their life force is other people's energy. So when I talk about a woman getting upset and and one to dip out and dash and take your emotional energy, that's where the code was cracked in my situation. Because when the situation played out and I found out some shit was going on and I said, hey, forget this. And I'm going my other way. She was shocked. It was almost like she had never had that happen before, because she freaking out, sending me all these crazy texts. And in my mind, I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Like who the fuck do you think I am? Like, of course I gas you up and tell you you're beautiful, but do you think I need you? I could tell that the men in her life had never told her that, hey, you full of shit, I'm out. I could tell that, man, by the way she responded. She was used to men saying, hey, no, don't. And like, that's where the hook is sunk in, man. When you see men living on a bridge, or when you see men that can't manifest certain things in their life, that's what they're doing. That's what they suffer from. They're suffering from letting some woman, like I always talk about this, man, and I said this before, never fall in love with a woman. Not treat a woman like a queen. Never let a woman inside that sacred space. Never let a woman inside that sacred space. A woman, to be honest, a real woman doesn't even want to be in that space. Because she understands that if she has access to that space, she's got your soul now. Now you're talking Samson and Delilah. So now you have to understand, when a woman is in that demon energy, bro, she's actually living off of the souls of other men. And when they don't have it, man, it's like a lot of brothers will comment on videos, man, and say things about my ex and say, man, like, is she older than you? And it was like, man, you got to understand, bro. And that's a whole other conversation, man. When you talk about shapeshifters, when you talk about life force, when you talk about, but anyway, man, you got to understand that the whole objective in a lot of these scenarios you're in, a lot of these women you're with, is to get your soul. It's to literally take your life. When Proverbs 5 says it, like this woman will take your life, will literally take your life. Sometimes it ends in actual physical death. Sometimes it ends in a man living his life without a soul. Have you ever seen a man living his life with no consciousness of his soul? It's a dark thing, bro. So I understood, man. I said, man, I was a lot closer to death than I thought. I was a lot closer to death than I thought, man. So I said all that to say this, man. Understand what's taking place in a lot of your relationships. Understand a lot of the women you're dealing with. Understand how to ask the right questions, how to let that light shine and expose women that are moving in that energy. And if you are in that energy, brother, you got to come up out of that. Like, a lot of men are actually living their lives in a spell and have no idea. No idea they're in a trance. And this woman can just come back in their life and come in and come out, come in and come out. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just a crazy thing, man. And you have to understand, like, when I say women like this live off the souls of other men, like, you got levels to it, right? Like you got hoe phase, which, if anybody doesn't know, I made that word up, right? You got hoe phase, you got a hoe, and then you got a whore. When you talk about your demons, you're talking about whores, bro. And when I say whole phase, you know, you got some good women, man. They might go a hot girl summer. They might wild out for a little bit. Then they might say, you know what, that life ain't for me. Then you got women that stay in that whole phase for 1 or 2 summers, and it becomes hypnotic rhythm. Well, now they're in a rhythm, and now they straight up hoes. But then it gets to a point where she can't even function unless she has the soul and energy of another man. Now she's a whore. But I'm gonna tell you, man, one of the most disheartening things that I heard over this time frame, when brothers were reaching out to me, man, when brothers were saying, man, you know what? When I met her, I didn't even know her. And she just pretty much let me smash, man. And matter of fact, I only smashed because my partner told me that he smashed. So I went over there and smashed. It was that dark, bro. And out of all the shit that happened, the darkest thing to me, man, was like, oh shit, like I was fucking with a demon in real time. So, brothers, all I'm saying is be aware of what's going on, man. Understand that there will be some women that come in your life. Understand that there will be some toxic situations come in your life. But understanding that sometimes some demons will be in front of you, brothers. And you must learn how to protect yourself. You must learn how to govern yourself. And you must learn how to protect your energy, brothers.